we've seen that the NFL's already dipped their toes for people to pay for regular season. So I'm pretty sure sometime in the next 5 years, we'll be paying for a Super Bowl, and that's very unfortunate. But you're too big to fail.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition, we are now truly in the postseason, so we have a cornucopia of items to talk about. It's segment one. We've got some ratings to talk about, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It also rarely ends well with some of these players, so we'll talk about some of the aging players and where they're going. In segment two, the coaching cycle is over, so we'll give our thoughts on professional growth and development in the NFL and a lot of quick hitters in segment three as we prep the offseason, so to speak. So with us today, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, Fox set Super Bowl records. 126 million viewers for the Eagles and the Chiefs, even though the blowout started early. In addition, the sports books outside of the state of Pennsylvania got their money back. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl itself? You got your halftime show, you got your ratings hither and yonder. What are your thoughts, my friend?
Well, I mean, it was an unfortunate game to watch the Eagles. I know that's a rival for the Commanders. But over and all, I think everybody was rooting for the Eagles. Nobody could stand the Chiefs. You know what's going on. Not anybody. I mean, nobody could stand the Chiefs. It was just too much, And if you didn't have any stake in the game, definitely gambling would have been great. There was a lot of props you can get. I mean, there was a lot of things in FanDuel that you to get into. I mean, the Gatorade, the coin flip, things like this first touchdown. There was some fun stuff in there that keep people entertained. I think with all the things that you mentioned, I think we're getting closer and closer to a pay-per-view Super Bowl. I think in 5, maybe sooner than that, people are going to start to have to pay Prime Video, or somebody's going to get that contract, but they're going to have to pay for the Super Bowl. It's going to be unfortunate, but with the amount of people that are just growing and growing and growing, the concert growing and growing and growing, the commercials getting bigger, we've seen that the NFL's already dipped their toes for people to pay for regular season. So I'm pretty sure sometime in the next 5 years, we'll be paying for a Super Bowl. And that's very unfortunate, but you're too big to fail. So, people will pay money. I know I will. Shoot, $10, $20. Man, we win the Super Bowl. So we'll watch that Fowler in the house because he got big money.
All right. And joining us now that the season's over, Fowler and Campbell. Fowler and the Super Bowl ratings were high across the board. This was the first ever Super Bowl simulcast on Tubi, which is Fox's fast channel. I don't even think I've ever seen anything on Tubi. That looked like to be a difference maker. You had the well talked about halftime performance of Kendrick Lamar, and I had to use all my degrees to find out all of the different things that were going on. What are your thoughts about the Super Bowl setting records and of course the sports books doing their thing? Any thoughts, sir?
I mean, anytime you can put it on different platforms, man, it's going to raise money. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're smart. The NFL is smart. Tubi is obviously trying to grow their platform as well. So I mean, it's smart by both parties. You know what I mean? I think that was a great idea. And it'd be interesting to go back to what Will said about just paying for pay-per-view. Like, the NFL is making so much money off of their commercials. Like, just to add people paying for pay-per-view is crazy. So I hope they don't do it. I don't know if they will.
Oh, they will.
But I mean,
it's going to happen.
So look, Coach is old. What is Tubi?
Oh, Tubi it's like free TV. So it's like, you'll see all kinds of TV shows and stuff they won't show. And,
I think WWE's got a show coming on there, Evolve, which is the development group is on Tubi. So I got to check out Tubi. All right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, it rarely ends well. The New York Jets have informed, shockingly, Aaron Rodgers that they will be moving in a different direction. At quarterback, Rodgers is 41, had 1 year remaining on his contract, a non-guaranteed $37.5 million, which actually is not pretty bad compared to what's going on. But the question, fellas, is where should he go next? I'm going to start with Will. Okay, the Jets thing didn't work out. Where should Aaron Rodgers go next? Or should he just hang it up?
If it was me, he make too much money. I would just relax, go play golf, chill, ride off into the sunset. But if he does want to play, I think a great and he's even spoke about it. He said he is definitely open to mentorship. I think Miami would be a great spot to go because you don't know what's going on with Tua. You know, if that guy can go down and boom, and that was one of the weak links that Miami had last year was when Tua went down, they had nothing, zero. I could see him going to Indianapolis. They have a history of getting old quarterbacks, going back, trying to rehash things. Anthony Richardson is not the 100% quarterback that they really want. Obviously, he got tired one game, and you can't do that in the NFL. But I think he has some options. I mean, even if he wants to, he could really play if he wanted to in Tennessee. They don't really have a quarterback right now. They don't know what's going on. If you really want to reach, and really reach, you can go with the Steelers. I mean, they let Fields go. I mean, it could be Fields again. We'll see what happens. Russ is not coming back. He has some options, but he has to. But I think what's allowed to him to come back was he's open to mentorship, whatever that means if you're Aaron Rodgers. But I think he's going to give it one more chance. If he does a situation he likes, then he's going to ride off on the sunset.
All right, following. If you're Aaron Rodgers and you're giving advice, are you hanging it up or whose phone are you calling and who would want Aaron Rodgers in the first place?
I mean, honestly, I think he still wants to play, man. I think he still wants to play. I think he still thinks he's a top quarterback. So then you got to look at, who's available. I mean, what teams are looking for quarterbacks? I mean, obviously you got to see what happens during the draft. But I mean, the Raiders are an option. We obviously know New York is getting a quarterback. Maybe like you can go there and mentor whoever, whatever. If it's Cam or if it's Shador, you can mentor one of those guys. Again, Pittsburgh is also an option. You know what I mean? Like Tomlin always finds a way. You know what I mean? Like if they don't have Russell, they're gonna keep Justin. Now it's like, all right, we don't know what we can get from Justin, but we know we got a solid backup quarterback who can. I don't know. He didn't look good this year, so I can't say, he's going to come back and give us something new. But you're just hoping he can go somewhere and be rejuvenated. So,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Before we close, I got to throw out one. Will, you threw out something. Minnesota Vikings. You followed the Brett Favre path, and you went to the Jets. Why not close out the Brett Favre path of past Packers quarterbacks and JJ McCarthy might not be ready, and you can't afford Sam Darnold. So how about that?
It'll be difficult. I know Kevin McConnell. I know he likes to work with quarterback, doesn't know everything. Kirk Cousins seems a lot more receptive to coaching. Sam Darnold looks like he was like, hey, whatever you can do. If you did it for Kirk, can you do it for me? I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is receptive to learning from Kevin O'Connell. And that's the big thing about Kevin O'Connell. You can really grow and build quarterbacks and fix broken quarterbacks, essentially. And I just don't think that Rodgers is going to have that same mentality or relationship together. And I don't think he's going to be receptive to that kind of coaching. So I don't know if it's going to work in Minnesota.
Following, can he humble himself and get one more bite at the apple with that great wide receiver over there?
Nah, I think if I'm O'Connell, I got to go with my young boy. Give him a chance. And then if I have to bring A-Rod in, then I would, but I got to go with the young boy.
All right. And Pete Carroll and the Raiders. Come on. Pete 73. He ain't got time to wait. Aaron Rodgers, come on in there. Bring Devontae back with you. And let's ride that sucker with that tight end from Georgia. Will, did I convince you?
Maybe. I mean, they're all about names. That mean if Vegas is not about winning, it's about name. And if they can get butts in the seats, if they can get some sort of show, not just, they're cool with that. They're cool with that. They got Tom Brady. I don't know why they got Tom Brady in the ownership. He's not going to bring nobody, in my opinion. He's not that kind of guy. You really don't have you have nothing to show. You have nothing to sell. There's not a name that's going to get people excited in Vegas. Brock Bowers does not really, move the needle, if you say, for your team. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers going to Vegas would be a big thing and keep a thing for the Raiders and keep them popular and have people watching and talking about the Raiders. So if you're talking about just being relevant, go get Rodgers. If you want to be good, wait a couple of years and build your team from the foundation way up. So we'll see what happens.
So, following, you gave me that look when I called somebody else's number in the huddle. I don't think you're a fan of this move either. What do you say, sir, as we close out?
Hey, well, you said it. They want big name and they want people in the seats. I'm sorry, A-Rod is not it. So you got to go draft a quarterback, get your door in there, and you can bring A-Rod to mentor him. But I don't think I'm gonna see him on the field in the Raiders, man. In Vegas.
All right, so fans, when we get back in segment 2, we're going to talk about leadership and mentorship as the coaching cycle has come to a stop. I think we're missing a couple of things. Glad I got this panel here. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast. This segment 2. The coaching cycle is over. And once again, I have to pause because of the lack of black head coaches in the NFL. According to the NFL, approximately 57.5% of the players are African American. The percentage of African American NFL coaches is relatively low, while African Americans make up a significant portion of NFL players. They are underrepresented in head coaching positions. And when they do get said positions, they're often not provided the long leash and opportunity as others. Efforts like the Rooney Rule, which mandates interviews minority candidates for head coaching positions, have been implemented to address this. But as we saw this offseason, some of the names mentioned getting interviews, we were like, come on, man, what are you doing? Now, it's important to have mentorship. It's important to have networking. And it's important to acknowledge the importance of mentorship and networking. But again, there needs to continue to be advocacy in terms of talking about these critical issues. So, Will, give me your thoughts on the coaching cycle. We have gone another year, and some of the names mentioned getting interviews. Even Locke's got an interview with the Jets. Come on, man. What are we doing?
It's kind of sad, it's kind of sad because we can all see what they're doing, it's difficult, but I think and Coach, you said everything. I mean, there's nothing out there to rehash, but for me, we don't know what the mark is. We don't know the goal that we have to get to get an opportunity to a head coach. Eric Bieniemy, guy won back-to-back Super Bowls, won 2 of them, and never got an opportunity to get the coaching job. Aaron Glenn. I mean, granted, that's what I to be honest with you, I think that's a poor situation. I think that's a situation where he's going in and he's going to fail that. I mean, there's nobody to go in. There's no quarterback. There's no idea. There's no foundation. And then they look out and they say, okay, here, win, go win now. When they finally give, black coaches a chance, it's, behind the eight ball. It's, oh, now you got to do this. You got to set it up, and then we get it up to the point where it's like, now we are where we need to be. And then they want to go find another guy to get you over the hump. So it's just very difficult. But I think the best thing now for black coaches is the money for coordinators now. So you don't have to just jump out there just because it's like, oh, I'm a hot coach. You know what I'm saying? Let me go jump in here and there's 5 or 6 teams that are terrible. And trust me, I'm glad there's no brothers that got the Saints job. That's a losing job. Kellen Moore, that's a losing job, brother. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing in there. There's nothing there for you. Aaron Glenn, I'm sorry, there's nothing to win there, brother. There's nothing to win. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. But at the end of the day, black coaches go through, they get the best of their talent, and they surprise guys. I mean, look at the coach over in Houston. Everybody thought he was going to wash out. Everybody thought he was going to be real quick, like, oh, one and done. He doesn't know how to develop code. He doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks, but he's won the South back to back, and won a playoff game. So we'll see what happens in the future. I think, the biggest thing for black coaches is we can sit in our coordinator situations, making good money, and choose where we want to go that works for us.
All right, Fowler, and what do you think about this, sir?
And I think the way Will just ended it, like he said, like just being an offensive or defensive coordinator, you're making good money. You know what I mean? So I hope now that it's like, all right, when we are looking for a position, you know what I mean, a coach of color is looking for a position, it's like, all right, look, I'm going to choose based on if it's a good fit for me. You know what I mean? Like, again, the Saints' job is an awful job. I mean, they're down on the 8 ball already, just with, financial things, and then, with players you got to re-sign, and it's just a bad situation. You know what I mean? So I think just being an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, I'm hoping, like, you know what, when it is time for these guys to make decisions, they just go do what's best for them.
Yeah. For me, fellas, I'm a big on investment. 30 years ago, Hank Galata invested a lot of time, a lot of effort. Butch Hilliard, Jesse Harold, Jay Hilliard, my athletic director at Paint Branch, invested time, effort, resources. Let's go to camps. Let's go to this. Let's do that. We're going to provide these opportunities. And as a result of that, I became a better coach. I became a better athletic director. I became a better administrator because people like Jack Bailey and Sue Spencer in my life invested time. Cliff Warren is another mentor. So that's what I'm not seeing is the investment into the talent. And that's all I'm going to, continue to advocate for is give people time, give people resources, give people energy, and you're going to get a better product in terms of your teams and your coaches' professional development. So in segment 3, we're going to throw a lot at the wall, see what happens as we transition to the off season. We'll be right back on the Eye Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful anecdotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Eye Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Want my panel to think of one team or one player for each question, but we're going to call this We Don't Know But. So, Will, who's your early Super Bowl pick for next year?
Ooh, man, Super Bowl. To be honest with you, if they're playing the way they're playing, we expect to see the Eagles again. I'm not gonna lie. They are I mean, they're not losing anybody. And they have some money to go get somebody, and his name is Myles Garrett. Hope it doesn't happen, but they could. They could be very dangerous. And I think they'll go against the Ravens. I think the Ravens are kind of salty about what happened. I think they didn't lean on Derrick Henry as they should have. And they look and they see that the Eagles, like, they leaned on Saquon. So I expect the Eagles, I expect the, was it 50, 40, 60? I don't know Roman numerals anymore outside of Jordan, really. But the next Super Bowl will be Eagles versus Ravens.
All right, following. Who's your early Super Bowl pick for next year?
Coming from an unbiased view, I'm going to go with, look, the Commanders, man. The Commanders have money. They have a franchise quarterback. And I mean, DC is a place where it used to be a place where people wanted to come play. You got a new organization, like you got a defense. They have money to get another receiver, whatever they need to build around this guy. They got they're in a perfect situation to come out the NFC. So I'm gonna go with them, and then I got to run it back with the Chiefs, man. I just feel like you saw how bad their O-line was, and they're gonna address that in the offseason. And again, they have the receiving core now to compete. Kelsey is probably going to come back for one more year, try to run it back.
I can't let that be my last game if I'm Travis Kelce.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't go out like that.
No way.
I can't do. I go out in a divisional playoff game playing hard, then going out in the Super Bowl looking like hot garbage. That's bad. That's my ego. I'm sorry. All right. See, Following brings that out. Coach Adams came out of that. Okay. Following, I'm going to go to you with this one. Who is your pick for next season's MVP, if you could tell me now?
Going back to the Commanders. I think Daniel. Look, I'm unbiased right now, so I got to go with this hot team, and this guy's playing amazing. Jayden Daniels is special, man. He's a special guy, and I think you add one more receiver like they're supposed to with the running backs that they have, and that's going to be his breakout year.
Okay. All right. Well, who is your MVP for next season? Way early to talk about.
Man, he stole my pick. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad. I'm very happy he chose that. But I would go with Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow ended the season very strong, and I think he was like third in the MVP. So the kid can turn it on. I think they just can't lose so early in the season, and he has to keep it up. So unfortunately, Fowler said my pick, but my second pick would be Joe Burrow to win the NFL MVP next year.
All right, man. Joe Burrow got a lot of Dominique type 20. When you down 25 in the second half, you're going to throw the ball. So some of those numbers, yeah, I said it. Some of that is kind of bloated. But I digress. All right. Will, pick any team you want. Tell them, make this move, and something good's going to happen for you.
Myles Garrett to the Commanders. That's an immediate impact player. Back-to-back defensive player of the year. He's young. The only thing is that he's going to be very expensive. I believe he's only 30, which is great because, that's like prime time for DNs. And that was one of the things that the Commanders lacked, was they really couldn't get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks or even in the backfield. So, man, I would love if we could get Myles Garrett and not have to trade the franchise a bunch of stuff. We can get for the first of this year, maybe the first next year, and maybe the McCaffrey kid, even though I like him. If we can get away with that with Myles Garrett, I'd be very happy.
All right, following. I think this might be a San Francisco move, but what's one move you want to see this offseason?
I'm interested to see what happens with Debo. I think he's got to move. Again, I don't want to lose him, but I think with the team that we have and what's going on, and obviously financial reasons, he has to move. So I'm interested to see what we get in return. If it's a second round pick, you know what I mean, or if we can, finagle a first round pick. I don't know what we can get for him, but I'm interested to see what happens there. Dre Greenlaw, he might be on the move. That's a big loss for that defense. but I'll be happy for him because I know he wants to lead a defense. And I think he's one of the top linebackers in the NFL. So I would understand why he would want to leave. So, and then obviously just being able to retain Purdy. Like what kind of money he's going to ask for? What is he going to? Is he going to demand Dak Prescott money? Is he going to want Trevor Lawrence money? I mean, I don't know. So I'm interested to see what happens with San Fran.
All right, I'm gonna stay with you, Fowler. Name one team, one coach, or one player that you think is gonna just blow it up next season.
Just have mean like a great year?
Yes, just one team or a coach or a player. Who do you think is just gonna have a breakout season next year?
That's interesting. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati, man. I'm gonna go with them. They didn't have the year that they was supposed to have, and I just think Joe Burrow is going to tear it up like he did this year. He's already saying he'll take less to keep T. Higgins and make Jamar happy. So, not I'm not saying take less. Restructure his contract. I'm sorry. So they can be happy. So, I mean, we always talk about that AFC North, man, and Baltimore's been running it, and Pittsburgh's going to be good again next year. But if Cincinnati have the year that they have, I mean, again, like Will said, they can come out the AFC.
All right, Godman, name one team, coach, or player that you think is going to break out in the 2025 season.
Oh man, I think like Fowler said. I mean, if JD5 is going to be the MVP, I think that's the player who's going to step it up and break out in 2025. He can definitely excel on the numbers that he's already playing. Putting some real talent around him could only improve him. I don't see a reason why that he shouldn't have a breakout. And when I mean breakout, I mean going from rookie sensation to legit quarterback MVP candidate. And I think he'll have one of those great numbers this year because he's dueling against a lot of guys. He's going against Mahomes this year. He's going against the Eagles twice. Unfortunately, not going against Lamar, but I do think he is going against Josh Allen. So I think he's going against him. So he's going against some guy, and he's going against the Packers too. So Jordan Love. So I think he's going to have a lot of dueling games this year, and he's going to show why he is the better player. And I think he's going to have a huge breakout 2025.
Third time's a charm. Go Carolina Panthers. All right. Which team's going to take a step back? Will, what team do you think, okay, you had a good 2024, but you're not going to have it in 2025? What team will take a step backwards?
I got to see the Steelers. We've seen what they've looked without a quarterback, even if it's not Russell Wilson. I think they're going to take a big step back because I don't really see if they're going to get a quarterback they need. George Pickens, we're seeing that he's not the elite receiver that they want him to be. I think he's top 15, top 20, but he's not top 10 in my opinion. Najee Harris, we'll see. He hasn't really exploded or excelled or hit his stride. He's been healthy. He gets opportunities, but he's just not the guy for them. They're talking about moving TJ Watt. So when I look at a team like the Steelers, I take them like a real big step back because, I don't really know what their identity is anymore. I think they're even looking at themselves and they're like, well, what do we do well? You can't stop people because we get beat up by the Ravens and the Bengals. We can't really score like that. We don't have the firepower. So what are they going to be? And I think with no identity, they're going to take a big step back in 2025.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Fowler, what team do you think is going to take a step back in 2025?
It might be shocking, man, but I'm gonna say the Detroit Lions, man.
Mm.
And I say that because again, you see how they had a great year this year, and they lost their coaching staff basically, and that's huge. I mean, losing your coaching staff is going to play a big part in who they bring in next and how they're able to get everybody on board with their style of play. So I'm interested to see how they do. I mean, they had a great year. They lost 2 games this year or 3 games? I don't know. But
then how they lost, that's a tough one to come back from as well. Mm-hmm. Very fair. I am going to be the fly in the ointment. I think our local team here, the Washington Commanders, will take a step back because it's very easy to play when no one cares. But I'm looking at two guys that have been the game of the year on everybody's schedule. And every game you lost, gentlemen, there was a court storm. So everybody's read the newspaper and they're reading about how great Jaden Daniels is and how this, that, and the other. And now the game plan's a little more sharper than it might have been last year. Again, doesn't mean it's a bum conversation. It just means might be a little harder than you think it is. All right, final question before we wrap up. Will, I'm going to you first. Who is the most interesting quarterback you want to look at next year and why?
A lot of people won't say it, but Patrick Mahomes. It'd be very interesting to see how he comes back with the ass whooping that he got. And when you're looking at their money, if you're looking at their cap space, they don't have a ton of money that they're going to immediately have somebody that can impact their team. Obviously, they're going to get healthier. They're going to get back Rashee Rice better. I think they're going to go get a running back to go, to complement because, they don't really know what their running back was kind of. Pacheco is, he did not affect the game, I'll say, in any way, and neither did Kareem Hunt. So I'm just see how he goes back because if we remember, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, Mahomes was a star. Mahomes was an amazing player, 400 yards, 4 touchdown kind of guy, 5 touchdown, 500 yards kind of guy that he could, as they say in the fantasy football word, he would drop a nuke. Usually drop a nuke on your game. You're up 35 and all of a sudden you lose by 20 because the man dropped 60. So we'll see. He has a lot to prove. He's a lot to prove. He's following greatness, goatness, if you will. And bouncing back is key because, Brady's done it. Peyton's done it. We'll see if Mahomes can follow that. So I'm interested to see how he plays in 25.
All right, Fowler, who is the most interesting quarterback for you in 2025?
We haven't seen him yet, and it's Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. I can't wait to see when them boys get into the NFL, man. I am interested to see how, what teams they go to, and then, who outperforms who. Like, you see they're good friends, and they want to compete at the highest level, man. And I think they are generational, quarterbacks. You know what I mean? I think both of them are special in their own right. So I'm interested to see how they both do and how they look, man. So I can't wait to the draft and next season and how they, I'll be following both of them.
All right, and of course, Coach will be all oddball. I want to see Trevor Lawrence. This guy is paid like he's a big deal, and he hasn't done squat.
Nothing.
He's gotten guys fired. This guy came into the league, and everybody was yay, 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 and he has done a bit of nothing. So I am curious to see if somebody trades for him, if Jacksonville plays with that. That's the one I'm watching this offseason. So appreciate you guys being on. So on behalf of my cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and watching the Odd Coaches Podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.